And as we are going to close today's sessions, I'm delighted to introduce our final act, a unique thought experiment led by Dénes, founder and CEO of Raise. In his closing discussion, Dénes will explore how we can weave together the diverse ideas and insights shared throughout the day into a cohesive and inspiring strategy. For those of you who are still with us, it is absolute pleasure and privilege to have you all here. Please join me in welcoming to the stage Dénes. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Okay, here we go. So, if you look at the top 5 publicly traded companies in the world, if you look at 2001, 23 years ago, from the 5 companies, 1 was tech, Microsoft. 13 years ago, still 1, Apple. Since 2019, the 5 biggest companies in the world are all tech companies. However, this slide, if you're in investments or in innovation, very, very important. Let me guide you through it. The gray color is public value creation. This is the money, the amounts, the multipliers that you make on the public markets. The blue, I don't know how many you can see it from there. The blue is what you make on the private markets, private market value creation. Apple, if you invested $1 million in Apple when Steve Jobs started Apple and it was still in the garage in the first round, so you can see how much money did you make when Apple went public? On the blue, $500 million. You invested $1 million as a first investor in Apple, you would have made $560 million. But if you invested at IPO, $1 million, and you sold it today, you would have made, You wanna come in?
Keep going, it's all right.
You would have made another 2,000, you want me to help you? I'm happy to help. You would have made around 2,000 times, which is around $2 trillion. Thank you, that's great. I can also walk here. Now, what's getting interesting is what happened in the last 15 years. Where is the gray? Where is the gray? All the value creation moved from public to private. The gray is there, you just can't see it. Somebody complained to me in my last presentation, so here it is. Okay? That little thing out there, that's how much you make on public versus private. Meaning, all the value creation is on today in private markets. Now, you may have one legitimate complaint. You can say, Dénes, this is not a fair comparison. Why? Because let's compare Facebook with Microsoft. Microsoft has been public for, whatever, almost 40 years. Facebook only been 12 years. So let's wait another 30 years, and then it's a fair comparison, right? Maybe then we can make the same amount of money on public markets as with Microsoft. But it's not true. Let me show you why. Facebook, to match the same amount of multipliers, to match Microsoft's public market returns, it has to become a 45 trillion US dollar company. With all due respect, that's twice US GDP. Unlikely it's going to happen in our lifetime. Now, if you look at the last 40 years, it's actually been defined by 3 major waves, called the Malthusian, based on scarcity, Ricardian, based on growth, and Schumpeterian, based on innovation. The first, if you look at 40 years ago, in the oil crisis, etc., after the oil crisis, it was all based on scarcity. 1990, everybody thought Japan is going to take over the world. 8 out of the 10 largest companies in the world were Japanese. Then came the year 2000, the TMT bubble, and it was all innovation. Then 2010, China will take over the world, and then for the last 5 years, it's all US. It's all US and it's all innovation. Now a question. What is interesting, I want to give you a case study on Japan. Spent a lot of time there, but it really, Japan is what shows when you miss innovation. Do you know how many companies, obviously there is not one in the top 10 anymore, but how many Japanese companies are in the first 50? Any guess? One. Toyota, right? One company. In 1990, 8 out of 10 of the largest were Japanese. Today, 1 in the first 50. What happened? Let me show you something. If you look at the age of the top 10 companies comparing US and Japan, let's look at the US first. Again, largest companies in the US compared to Japan. NVIDIA, Amazon, Tesla, Meta, all started the last 30 years. If you add Apple and Microsoft, approximately 45 years old, basically 7 out of the 10 largest companies in the US are all started in the last 50 years. And there are the other 3. How many do you think in Japan? 0. First 50, SoftBank and NTT, which is actually not really true. They're not really right because NTT is a legacy company, but let's keep them. And then the rest are basically over 100 years old. But what's even more interesting is this. How many are actually VC, venture-backed? How many are venture-backed in the US and in Japan? 7? 0. Oops, that was quick. 0. Meaning, all the companies, what drives value today in the US is venture, innovation, and look at Japan. Now, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Corporations should build all the unicorns. I'm going to do this very quickly. Let's compare venture-backed companies, also sometimes called startups, and corporations. I'm just going to give you the variable. Customers. Startups have customers. They start from 0. Corporations, millions. Data, limited. Corporations have all the access to data, right? Fundraising. Startups need to fundraise all the time. If a corporation starts a company internally, no fundraising. Just on that, you save 3 months a year. I was an entrepreneur. When we fundraise, it usually takes us 3 months every year, full time. POC, testing, no access. Corporations, you have access to the HQ. You can validate, you can get POC testing. You save another 3 months a year. Talent, start from 0, access to internal talent. Brand, no. Strong brand. Distribution channels. Think about how much distribution and channels you can bring. Obviously 0 as a startup and corporation. However, Airbnb didn't come out from Marriott, Tesla and Uber didn't come out from Toyota, and Lemonade didn't come out from Allianz, and Binance didn't come out from JP Morgan. So what the heck is going on? The corporates should create all the unicorns in the world today, but they miss the boat constantly. Here is one of my absolute favorite quotes. The battle between every startup and incumbent comes down to whether the startup gets distribution, sales, before the incumbent, the corporation, gets innovation. That says it all. It says it all. Now, question, would you have invested? I know this is a well-known picture. If you haven't seen, can you see Bill Gates on the right bottom? Maybe it's blocked by this, but there's Bill Gates on the right bottom. But here's another picture, maybe less well-known. Why did you send me this renegade from the human race? Don Valentine, Sequoia, and Steve Jobs. Don Valentine is the most well-known venture capital investor in the world, basically the father of venture. And this is what he said about Steve Jobs. Anyone recognizes who this is? Good call, right? No one is going to beat us at selling books. It just ain't going to happen. The CEO and founder of Barnes & Nobles. How wrong he was. And let's see if you got this guy. Anybody? You can probably guess. It's one of the top 5, and it's not Mark Zuckerberg. If you invest in something that doesn't work, you lose 1 times your money. If you miss Google, you lose 10,000 times your money. That says it all about venture capital. And my definition of innovation and venture mindset is the following. Venture and innovation mindset is not about trying to minimize risk, but you are trying to maximize the outcome. That is the difference. That is the major difference on venture mindset and innovation, venture mindset from a venture perspective, and innovation, how corporations and other agencies or institutions define innovation. So I must admit I'm very challenged here, right? My masterclass, my workshops usually take 1 to 2 days. The shortest I've ever done is 3 hours, and now I have 18 minutes and 52 seconds. So I'm going to be quick. I want to give you as many tools as possible you can take with you, but I'm trying to go very, very quick, okay? This is what we call the innovation pyramid. So let's start below. I mean, all the way. I don't know if I will read it. It's called improve and increase. The bottom of the innovation pyramid is what we call your core business. These are the things that you do, improve, and if you constantly improving, and again, if you're a corporation or if you are any big company in the world, you're introducing new features, you enter new markets. Here's an example. Netflix enters Hungary. That's not innovation, but that's very important of your core business. McDonald's launched Happy Meal. Anybody knows how it came out? It's brilliant. You should look it up. There was a lady somewhere, I think in Brazil or Argentina, saw that kids only eat half of the hamburger, so it created Happy Meal. Brilliant idea, very profitable idea. It's not innovation. Okay? The next level is when you add and attach innovation, technology into your core business. You have an existing product, but you add AI, predictive analytics, big data, blockchain, whatever it is. Here's an example. How many of you have Netflix? Did you see that Netflix tries to recommend you movies based on your previous shows? So that's it's not really your own technology. It's not innovation, but you use existing technology to incorporate it. Toyota, electric, etc. Now we're getting to what we call innovation disruptive world, when you start building new ideas. And these are we only call it disruptive if it really fundamentally transform your business. We spoke about Netflix. Netflix is now going into show creation. Netflix is now show creation. That's not their business. They have distribution, but now they are challenging and they are competing with Hollywood. All right? So that is something which is disruptive. And they built and they put millions and maybe hundreds of millions of dollars to build their own shows, right? AWS from Amazon, more profitable than Amazon itself. Gmail from Google, right? This is disruptive innovation. Now, on the top of the pyramid is when you buy companies, when you invest, or when you try to partner with other companies. And this is like, you usually do it for 3 reasons. External, these are the external, right? The build was internal. This is external when you invest or partner up. You do it for defense, you do it for offense, or for financial returns. Netflix invests in hundreds of companies outside. WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook bought them. You can discuss whether it was for offense or defense. Definitely not financial at that time. But that is when you start partnering up. Now, innovation in our venture world is only those 2 top. Everything under it is not innovation. Somebody asked in the break, what is the definition of innovation? Right? Again, I'm not saying that that's what other people think, but from a venture mindset, this is what we call innovation. Okay? Now, buy and invest means outside in. You take you go outside, M&A, partnering, or what we call inside out, where you build, this is one of the most difficult things for corporations. That's why those companies like Airbnb, et cetera, didn't come out from Marriott, et cetera, right? You need to build internal racetracks. And we maybe touch upon that a little bit later. Now, people ask me, hey, what do you mean? We should drop everything under? No, of course not. More than that, keep them, 80% still should stay in the bottom two. But if you don't put 10% and 10% in the top two, you're going to be just like Japan. Anybody recording? Maybe just make sure you cut it, okay? And by the way, this is what we have seen in the last 5 years. Obviously, CVCs usually come in at the top of the cycle, right? When all the professional institutional VCs move out. But you see how there are more and more CVCs, corporate venture capital coming in. Just in 22, again, the top of the cycle, over 100 new CVCs were created, and they spent over $100 billion into 5,000 deals. That's crazy. But a lot of these things are what we call innovation theater. You may have read the book. It's coined by Steve Blank. Innovation theater is when you start creating accelerators, incubators, venture labs. You do demo days, hackathons, and you provide free smoothie machines and energy bars. It's not innovation. It's innovation theater. Usually, the issue with innovation that it comes down to one of these three things. One of these three things. Often it's all three. Sometimes it's two of the three, but it's definitely one of these three. Lack of deal flow and disruptive ideas. You don't even know where to start. You don't have ideas internally, and you don't have access. You have ideas, the second challenge, but you can't turn them into profitable businesses. And third, they become profitable, but you don't know how to scale them. Now, the beauty is that the venture mindset can help you to merge customer pain with disruption, and that will get you deal flow. You can apply the VC approach for diligence, funding, and quit or double down or quit for turning them to profitable, and then scale. You just have to build stories that stick. Now, I will try to give you a snapshot of all three, because this is very theoretical. I can give you some ideas, but I have to go quick. So, all great ventures start with understanding customer pain. Customer pain, customer pain, right? And again, ventures, startups, they may think what a customer pain is, but corporations actually know what customer pain, if they do it right. No one knew that they wanted a video recorder. Nobody knew that they wanted an iPod. Nobody knew that they wanted a microwave oven. Nobody said that. Your customers don't say that, hey, I want a video recorder, or an iPod, or a microwave oven. But what they could tell you was their pain, if you listen and you ask correctly. They weren't getting home in time to watch their favorite show. If they tell you that, then you know you may need to build something, right? They are always on the go, and the Walkman was too big and only could hold one tape. Or microwave oven, they didn't have time to cook a healthy meal. The pain is the start. But what is disruptive idea? The pain needs to be turned into disruption in order that we again call it innovation. So again mentioning, enter new markets, better service, better prices, improve gross margins, etc. This is what we call incremental innovation. It's not disruptive. If I really simplify it, again, I'm just simplifying it now, there are 4 ways you can do disruptive innovation. You either introduce a new disruptive product or service, you have a disruptive price model, you have a disruptive business model, or you're offering something which I call knowledge and transparency. So let's do a little bit of case study here. Here are 4 brands: Alibaba, AWS from Amazon, the clouds and Facebook, and iPhone. Take 30 seconds. Just 30 seconds. I'm going to get some water. and put it into one of those boxes. And think about why. Where would you put them in? Which box? iPhone would go, which one? Facebook, which one? Etc. 30 seconds. iPhone. Where does the iPhone go? Obviously, good. Thank you. iPhone. Let's see. You're right. iPhone goes in product service, right? A phone, an iPod, an interconnector in one. That's how Steve Jobs started. Totally new product, right? Where does Facebook go? Knowledge? Anybody for seconds? Price model. Previously pay for student directory is now free and you make money on ads. That's a typical disruptive price model, right? Just like Waze. Navigation. How many of you still buy navigation? You used to pay for it. Now it's free. But you got ads, right? That's a disruptive price model. Totally changed hundreds of industries. Where do you put AWS? 2 to go. Business model, right? The cloud, you used to buy a server, you had to buy a physical server. Now, just pay only for what you use. That is the whole SaaS, software business, right? Absolutely disruptive business model, disrupted so many industries. And knowledge transparency, Alibaba, because you have customer reviews. When you have 12,000 buyers with 4.8 customer reviews, you buy. And for that, you pay something extra, right? These are typically disruptive. Now, the next step is, once you find your customer pain, once you find ideas, how you turn it. Now, I'm going to go, again, very, very quick here, but the venture investment process, basically 3 steps. Access, get the deal, close the deal, and then manage. Now, each has, when in our masterclass, we spent just 3 hours on this, one slide. But here is a couple of things. You need to find a way to get deal flow. And for that, the most difficult thing for almost everyone is you need to get out of your comfort zone. You saw those pictures, right? From Google and Steve Jobs and Larry Page and who else was? Jeff Bezos. You will not find them in the places where you usually go. You need to get out of your comfort zone. They are somewhere in a garage, and they maybe go to their local bars. They are not the social animals that you will find. So you need to get innovation scouts, or you need to invest in funds, but there has to be a way that you get access. Closing DD, you have to turn DD on its head. It's nothing that you ever done. They often don't even have any numbers. What do you make diligence? What do you do diligence on? So, and you have to be able to say 99 times. You have to be okay with failure, and you need to make many, many small bets, basically play poker. And then managing is probably the most difficult thing. The most difficult thing in venture is this. What do you do with your baby? You already invested $5 million. A company is going down, and they need $2 million now. Are you going to give them the 2, or you just write off the 5? Most difficult decision in venture. Cut your losses quickly, be patient, etc. And third, I want to use this example, which is how to build stories that stay. We talked about the iPod. Do you remember, if you know, don't say it. Do you remember what was the tagline? How Steve Jobs sold the iPod? Do you remember it? Imagine if Steve Jobs called you and said, Dénes, listen, I'm going up on TechCrunch or CNN in 1 minute. My tagline sucks. I need your help. What is it? What would that be? 45 seconds left. What would be that line that you bring? So let's see what he came up with. So this is what we call the FAB exercise, which I've done with almost every entrepreneur I invested in, and it's been often a game changer for them. What are the features of the iPod? It had 5 GB drive, Firewire, lithium polymer battery in a 10 to 6 to 2 centimeters hardware. That is what Steve Jobs built, spent hundreds of millions of dollars, I don't know, hundreds of millions of man-hours to build. But did he sell it like that? No. How you turn it into an advantage? 5 GB drive, it holds 1,000 songs. Beautiful. Firewire, super fast download time. Lithium polymer battery, rechargeable battery. Great. 90% of the founders and technologists and R&D people are always stuck in the features because that's what they build, that's what they care about. But that's not how you sell it, right? That's not how you sell it. Now, 9.9% of the people get to the advantages. 0.1 or 0.01, it takes a genius to get to the next level, which I call the benefits. What is the benefit? 1,000 songs in your pocket. Super fast download time, download entire CD in 10 seconds, and recharge long life battery 10 hours continuous. And look at it, how he sold it. That's exactly, I don't know if you see it all the way down. Say hello to the iPod. 1,000 songs in your pocket. Can you see it? He has all the backup, all the features as a backup, but features are enabling technology. Nobody cares about features, or very, very few people. And to build stories that stick, you need to get out from your features to the benefits. And the way you do it is, who are the beneficiaries, know who the beneficiaries are, what do they really care about, and then keep it simple and stupid. That's it. Now, the challenge is that often you have modern stakeholders. Boeing sells to Swiss. I changed it to Swiss. I'm very upset with them because I just came from Singapore 4 hours ago and they didn't bring my luggage, so I'm still in the same clothes that I spent the last 36 hours. Stay away. So Boeing sells to Swiss. Also cut it, or maybe actually leave it in. You know. But Swiss is buying. Swiss is paying for the plane. But who is the user, right? You have two types of users: business people and travelers. So you have to think about who is really the stakeholder. Givarion, which is a food company, sells to cornflakes, Kellogg's. They are the buyers, but who is actually who is buying it? The parents. But who is the end user? The kid. So you have many, many stakeholders in the process. You have to be creative to understand who you are selling to. And I want to leave it with some closing remarks, okay? Because I want to kind of bring all the innovation mosaic together, as Lotzi asked me to do. So the innovation stakeholders in almost every single ecosystem has 4 + 1 player. The corporations, the universities, the ventures, the investors, and the startups. But really, to make especially at the beginning, make the machinery, the wheel, as oily as possible, it is really the government's role to make it as smooth as possible. So what the government can do, I mean, the corporations need to be much more open to innovation, setting up CVCs, testing POCs, so they need to implement what we call the innovation mindset. The universities also setting up accelerators, tech transfers, etc., and they need to learn the investor mindset. The VCs, investors, risk-taking, patience capital, support for global go-to-market. They need to learn the VC investor mindset. Usually in immature venture markets, all the places I've been to, it's often led by real estate people or coming out from industries who do not understand venture. They are great investors in other asset classes, but venture is so different. And actually, it's worse when you have invested in somewhere else. Because tabula rasa is probably much better than somebody who came with already a predetermined mind, right? Patience capital, risk-taking, the support for global go-to-market is crucial if you want to build a unicorn. And last but not least, obviously, startups. You need to be the talent pool, global mindset, fundraising skills. So where is the lowest hanging fruit? The lowest hanging fruit is here, for Hungary, at least. And by the way, also many, many other countries in the region. The lowest hanging fruits are between the startups and the corporations, because the startups can give the corporations value, strategic value that the corporations so need. Remember Japan? They need it. They don't know how to do it. The startups can help. And in return, the startups can get validation. The startup getting validation is more important than anything else. Because then what can you do? You can go to the investors, reduce risk, and then you get the investment. So if the government's role potentially could be to make sure that this happens. And it starts again with startups to the corporations, connect them, get the corporations on board. It's not easy because they've been probably burnt and they have to kiss a lot of frogs before they turn into something, but it is a win-win. And then the startups can go to the investors and they'll be much more successful. Stay tuned, stay in touch. Thank you so much.